Men give me credit for some genius. All the genius I have lies in this. When I have a subject in hand, I study it profoundly. Day and night it is before me. My mind becomes pervaded with it. Then the effort that I have made is what people are pleased to call the fruit of genius. It is the fruit of labor and thought. Give all the power to the many, they will oppress the few. Give all the power to the few, they will oppress the many. The Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms. A well-adjusted person is one who makes the same mistake twice without getting nervous. A nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master, and deserves one. There are seasons in every country when noise and impudence pass current for worth. And in popular commotions especially, the clamors of interested and factious men are often mistaken for patriotism. There are approximately 1,010,300 words in the English language. But I could never string enough words together to properly express how much I want to hit you with a chair. Why has government been instituted at all? Because the passions of man will not conform to the dictates of reason and justice without constraint. The sacred rights of mankind are not to be rummaged for among old parchments or musty records. They are written, as with a sunbeam, in the whole volume of human nature, by the hand of divinity itself, and can never be erased or obscured by mortal power. Safety from external danger is the most powerful director of national conduct. Even the ardent love of liberty will, after a time, give way to its dictates. The violent destruction of life and property incident to war, the continual effort and alarm attendant on a state of continual danger, will compel nations the most attached to liberty to resort for repose and security to institutions which have a tendency to destroy their civil and political rights. To be more safe, they at length become willing to run the risk of being less free. It has been frequently remarked that it seems to have been reserved to the people of this country to decide, by their conduct and example, the important question, whether societies of men are really capable or not, of establishing good government from reflection and choice, or whether they are forever destined to depend, for their political constitutions, on accident and force. I have thought it my duty to exhibit things as they are, not as they ought to be. Who talks most about freedom and equality? Is it not those who hold the Bill of Rights in one hand and a whip for affrighted slaves in the other? Hard words are very rarely useful. Real firmness is good for everything. Strut is good for nothing. For in politics, as in religion, it is equally absurd to aim at making proselytes by fire and sword. Heresies in either can rarely be cured by persecution. If we must have an enemy at the head of government, let it be one whom we can oppose, and for whom we are not responsible. The truth unquestionably is, that the only path to a subversion of the republican system of the country is, by flattering the prejudices of the people, and exciting their jealousies and apprehensions, to throw affairs into confusion, and bring on civil commotion. It will be of little avail to the people, that the laws are made by men of their own choice, if the laws be so voluminous that they cannot be read, or so incoherent that they cannot be understood. The Republican principle demands that the deliberate sense of the community should govern the conduct of those to whom they entrust the management of their affairs. But it does not require an unqualified complaisance to every sudden breeze of passion or to every transient impulse which the people may receive from the arts of men, who flatter their prejudices to betray their interests. Here, sir, the people govern. Here they act by their immediate representatives. The inquiry constantly is what will please, not what will benefit the people. In such a government there can be nothing but temporary expedient, fickleness, and folly. Let us recollect that peace or war will not always be left to our option. That however moderate or unambitious we may be, we cannot count upon the moderation, or hope to extinguish the ambition of others. To all general purposes we have uniformly been one people, each individual citizen everywhere enjoying the same national rights, privileges, and protection. If the federal government should overpass the just bounds of its authority and make a tyrannical use of its powers, the people, whose creature it is, must appeal to the standard they have formed, and take such measures to redress the injury done to the Constitution as the exigency may suggest and prudence justify. There is a certain enthusiasm in liberty that makes human nature rise above itself. In acts of bravery and heroism, have we not already seen enough of the fallacy and extravagance of those idle theories which have amused us with promises of an exemption from the imperfections, weaknesses and evils incident to society in every shape? If the sword of oppression be permitted to lop off one limb without opposition, reiterated strokes will soon dismember the whole body. Of those men who have overturned the liberties of republics, the greatest number have begun their career by paying an obsequious court to the people, commencing demagogues, and ending tyrants. A strong body makes the mind strong. I advise the gun. While this gives moderate exercise to the body, it gives boldness, enterprise, and independence to the mind. I always feel how necessary you are to me. But when you are absent, I become still more sensible of it and look around in vain for that satisfaction which you alone can bestow. The voice of the people has been said to be the voice of God. And, however generally this maxim has been quoted and believed, it is not true to fact. The people are turbulent and changing. They seldom judge or determine right. A dangerous ambition more often lurks behind the specious mask of zeal for the rights of the people, than under the forbidding appearance of zeal for the firmness and efficiency of government. By a faction, I understand a number of citizens, whether amounting to a majority or a minority of the whole, who are united and actuated by some common impulse of passion, or of interest, adverse to the rights of other citizens, or to the permanent and aggregate interests of the community. The great and radical vice in the construction of the existing confederation is in the principle of legislation for states or governments, in their corporate or collective capacities, and as contradistinguished from the individuals of which they consist. Experience is the oracle of truth, and where its responses are unequivocal, they ought to be conclusive and sacred.